Testing, testing, one, two.
Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test.
Call to order this meeting of Lawton City Transit Trust. Call the roll, please.
Hankins, Harris, Chapman, Gill, Hampton, Uyghur, Williams,
Present.
Warren.
Present. Brings us to item number 1. Consider approving resolution number 2024 to be named later, which authorizes the filing of a grant application under section 5339 of the Federal Transit Administration to capture the appropriated funds for federal fiscal year 2021. Am I on the wrong?
No, I have something different.
Okay.
You're good.
2021 that will be used for the design and the construction of the downtown transfer center and associated operations and maintenance facility, and authorize the chairman and secretary to execute the document. Yes, sir.
Good evening, trustees. Yes, this is basically to authorize us to basically write the application for FTA. We have not spent the funds or anything. This is just to authorize us to kind of write the grant. So, and these are appropriated funds that we receive every year.
And you need the council to approve the authority to approve a resolution.
Yes,
correct?
yeah, we just need to be able to execute the grant.
I entertain a motion. Got a motion to approve and a second. Call the roll, please, or vote. That motion was approved 5-0. That brings us to item number 2, consider waiving for 2 months the advertising fee for 3 bus bench advertisements at unsold locations for the Lawton Metropolitan Planning Organization to promote public participation in the 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, back in July, our advertising contract for the LATS benches expired, and so LATS has now taken that over for management. And so since we are in the middle of updating our MTP, Metropolitan Transportation Plan, we thought it would be a good opportunity to take advantage of some of the benches that do not have any advertisement and to advertise the public participation of the MTP to get public input to draft that plan. And so we are asking the board to waive the advertisement fees, and so we can do the advertisement at no cost.
If there's no discussion, I'd entertain a motion to waive the fees.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Please vote. That motion passed 5-0. Brings us to item number 3. Consider authorizing the chairman to sign 3 annual certifications, one of which contains the end-of-year reporting numbers for the prior fiscal year, FY 23-24, which will be used to help determine the allocation amount from the State Public Transit Revolving Fund for fiscal year 2025, along with 2 other required annual state certifications. Yes, sir.
So every year, part of the state revolving fund, we have to do an application, revenue miles audit, and certify the information for everything to be able to get state money. And this year, basically, the certifications just need to be signed by the chairman, so we can include that into the application. The only thing that's missing on one of the certifications is the revenue miles, and that's because our audit hasn't been completed yet. I did actually about 20-30 minutes ago get the final numbers, but I'm perfectly okay with once the audit's done, then then the chairman can actually sign. But this way, there's no delay in the application process. So,
If there's no discussion, I would entertain a motion to direct the chairman to do so. I have a motion and a second. Please vote. That motion passed 5-0. Brings us to item number 4, consider approving a 2-year contract extension between the City Transit Trust and Hendrickson Transportation Group, LLC for the operational management of the Lawton Area Transit System, and authorize the chairman and secretary to execute the same.
Yes, we are just asking for authorization to exercise the 2-year extension to the HTG contract for the operation of the LAT system. The original contract did include the prices for the 2 additional years, which is an increase of about 2.5% over the current year. That's pretty much standard every year. And so we've known that price going into it, and we're just asking the board to extend the contract.
Is there any questions from the council?
Yes, sir. I have a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
I noticed in the contract it said that there would be a proof of insurance presented 30 days prior. Is all of the insurances up to date so we have all that information?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And also, did we notify them that we wanted to do this 6 months prior to, so we're within our
Yeah,
boundaries
we
on the
sure did,
contracts?
yes. Mhm.
Okay. One last question. The audits reviewed, how many times have they been reviewed over the last 5 years?
And they have a audit every year.
Every year? Okay, and those have all been completed and in time and?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Does the contract terminate after these next 2-year extensions
Yes, that is correct.
with no?
We would have to go back out for bid after
Okay.
this 2-year
So
extension.
2 more and it's over till we renegotiate it.
Yeah, we would have to go out for RFP and do the whole thing again.
That's what I thought.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion. I've got a motion and a second. Please vote. That item passed 5-0, bringing us to item number 5. Consider authorizing the chairman to sign the address change form for the Transit Trust-owned petroleum storage tank at the Lawton Area Transit System Maintenance and Operations Facility, and authorize staff to submit the form to the Oklahoma Corporation Commission's Petroleum Storage Tank Division.
So on the last item tonight, basically the storage tank is actually under the City Transit Trust name, which means it's under the address, and there's been a couple of times where we don't receive it automatically, and so we've had some late fees and everything, so this is just to simplify it where it comes directly to us. So.
Any questions from council?
Make the motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Second. Have a motion and a second. Please vote. That motion passed 5-0. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Please vote. We are adjourned. Do we need to take a timeout?
I'll give you a call.
We're good to go. We call this meeting of the Lawton City Council to order. Please call the roll.
Harris.
Here.
Gill.
Yes.
Uyghur. Yes. Williams.
Present.
Warren.
Present. If you would, I'll stand with me while Reverend Givens from Dayspring gives us the invocation. Then we'll remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father, we are so thankful for your sovereignty over all that we do and for your covering and protection, your blessings for the city of Lawton. And Father, I pray for wisdom and understanding for each of the council persons as they conduct the business for the great city of Lawton. And Father, I pray that you will continue to protect them and their families. And Father, I pray that they will listen to your wisdom. And just as your word tells all of us to pray for the place where we live, the country, the nation, the city. And I pray that each of us present and all those in this community will pray for this city, Father, and lift it up to you for your covering and protection. And Father, I thank you for the work that each of these council persons puts in to help govern the city of Lawton. And we thank you and praise you in our Lord and Savior Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Can we move an item real quick? We've got some people from Oklahoma City that would like to get home sometime tonight. It's item number 28. If y'all would like to come forward. Item number 28 is consideration and action upon a resolution of the City of Lawton, Oklahoma, the city approving and authorizing the modification of terms regarding a sales tax revenue note series 2024C, the note to be issued by the Lawton Industrial Development Authority, the authority, and all matters related thereto. Yes, sir.
So we were here a month ago and we authorized the issuance of this $40 million. We were expected to close on September 22nd. And between then and now, there was one detail we were trying to work out with the banks, and ultimately they wanted to be able to reset the rate after 5 years. So here we're just basically, the only modification is it's still a 10-year amortization, but after 5 years, the loan can be reset, and it's 3% over the then 5-year treasury. So with a ceiling of 10.5 and a floor of 5.5. So we were kind of got parameters there, so we can't go too high, too low, but it's more like a traditional commercial loan. Banks like seeing that, being able to reset it after 5 years. So we're coming back to, you're not authorizing the debt, it's already authorized. We're just letting you all know that we're making this modification and wanting everybody to sign off.
Is there any questions from the council? I would entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
I've got a motion and a second. Please vote.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Y'all be careful going home. That brings us back to a presentation from Lawton Enhancement Trust and an old friend.
Hello, Council. Hello, Mr. Mayor. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you,
This is
sir?
kind of surreal, to be honest with you. Well, we're here to just talk a little bit about Lawton Enhancement Trust and what we've been able to do in the last year and some of the projects. So you'll see on the slideshow that we've done a lot this year. We've been very busy, from Second Street color that we take care of to trash off. There's just so many different projects that we take care of and help with and help fund. One of the things too is that we've got some new stuff that we've done this year, which we're really proud of as well. As we get through the trash off pictures, we can go to here where I'm at. So I'm old, so it's taken me a minute. And we have our Eye Candy Awards banquet every year. And so we've started a new thing where the citizens actually vote for Yard of the Year and Yard of the Month. And so we're really proud of that. And during the Eye Candy Awards this year, the Dominguez family run Residential Yard of the Year. We also have a commercial business of the year. It was Pat's Wash Tub on the east side. Do I have a clicker? I don't know how to use it, but oh, I see. Okay. Uh-oh. I already broke it. I just got back. Yeah, exactly right. So, but then we had Pat's Commercial Car Wash Business of the Year, and we had there was a Residential of the Year. Am I going the wrong way? Yep. And then we had a Champion Volunteer, and then Max Hussine Visionary Leader Award, which you all know all the projects that he helps us with. And then Jeanette Klein took on the project for the playground in the park, for the all-inclusive playground. And then Keith Jackson won an award as well at the Eye Candy Awards. And then we have August, September Yard of the Month, so each one of these families And we've also started this last year. We started Halloween and Christmas Yard of the Months. So it's kind of cool that we were able to help and get out and see people that put up Christmas lights and Halloween. It's been fun to see some of the photos that citizens are sending in and voting for. And then I think Freedom Festival was our big splash this year. We sponsored the drone show, and I thought it was amazing. And hopefully we'll be able to sponsor it again this next year. That's our hope. But it was beautiful. I don't think we'd ever seen anything like that in Lawton before. So, also we were able to help with Holiday in the Park. We actually got 4 of their houses that they're going to use inside Holiday in the Park to have vendors there. The City Hall dome lighting is complete. Thank you, Lord. But it's up, and so we can change the lights to any colors that we want. So right now it's blue and white. And if it is any time that council wants to change to a different color or has a different, something for any holidays, it's all LED, high end. It was a very nice, it's beautiful at night to look at it. And then the last part was just some of the stuff that we've actually done recently. The Fly a Flag program we take care of across the city. So if you see the American flags up and down the roads, that's a Lawton enhancement project. Yes, they are. They look beautiful today. I just drove by. So, and then the annual tulip planting that you see the tulips early in the spring and how beautiful they look, and that's again Lawton enhancement. We were able to help this year with Miss Lawton pictures, the old pictures that they had at the old City Hall, which I always thought was amazing. Those were refurbished, and Lawton enhancement helped with that. And then storage of some of that cultural preservation stuff we were able to help with as well. Obviously, we do a lot of this stuff in Elmer Thomas Park with the new raised beds in Elmer Thomas, along with the playground. Staining of the fence along Northwest Rogers Lane. When the city did the project, we asked that we get it stained, and we were able to get that done. I think it made that whole area there look so much better. And the Lawton Public Library landscaping, we've done that. Farmers Market, and then City Hall landscaping here, we've done all of that as well. And we've got the lights, I hope, are all finished now in the trees that when we had to do some digging, we actually dug up some of the lines, and so it was just one of those things. But hopefully they're all repaired. So if there's anything that you ever need from us, we appreciate your support. Anything at all that you ever need from Lawton Enhancement, please contact me, contact the city clerk. But I want to say this about the staff. We could not do what we do without city staff. And we have the best city staff in the whole state of Oklahoma, I guarantee you. And they are the best. They help us with everything. And we couldn't do it without them. So, but thank you all for letting us make a presentation to you. To have any questions?
Thank you very much, Mr. Burke.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's good seeing you.
Thank you. Good to see you. I had forgotten how much you talk. It's good to see you, man. That's a nice presentation. That's a group of people that really are out there working and really having an effect on Lawton, and they make us look good. That brings us to the consent agenda. Oh, I'm sorry. Is there any reports? We'll start down on this end. Yes, sir.
All right, it's our first this time. It's great. For everybody, 9/11 Remembrance Run tomorrow at Fort Sill is open to the public. So 07:30 is the opening ceremonies, and about 08:05 or 8:05 a.m. for folks who don't do military jargon is the 4-mile run, 4-mile ruck, and then a mile run as well. So looking to get 2,000 participants, and then if you can't run or you can't walk, whatever, come on out, support 9/11 Remembrance Run. And then also on the 20th of September is the final 77th band performance at McMahon Auditorium. So I'd love to have y'all out there. It's their final, like the final. They're getting disbanded. So it's going to be a great concert. Love to have y'all out there and show support for a phenomenal group of folks that do a lot of great performance over our history at Fort Sill and across the Army. So appreciate you letting me take the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Colonel, the run, sorry, a great point. The run is starts at McNair Hall, which is the building with a giant flag out front. So at McNair Hall, the FCO, the Fire Center of Excellence headquarters. Thanks, I appreciate that. Oh, wonderful, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am. Ward 7.
Yes, I'd like to announce Ward 7 will be sponsoring an event September the 26th this year. That's on a Thursday from 10:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. at Johnny Cook Barbecue, which is located at 1310 Southwest 21st Street. That's just, if you're coming down Lee going west, just make a left turn, which you'll be going south, and you'll see Johnny Cook Barbecue. You could sign up. We're going to be having different ones to sign up for free lunch for the Creative Center of Living. You can sign up. They serve free meals Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can either go there and eat or either just get your meal to go. And they're located on LC Ham, that's the Center of Creative Living. And also we have applications there for Ambucks. We have a representative for Ambucks. If you need a free wheelchair ramp added to your home, that's for the disabled. Let me specify on the meals for the Center of Creative Living is for ages 55 and older. Also, for the first 15 people that does sign up, you will receive a free lunch that day, which will consist of a sandwich, which is could be a rib sandwich, brisket, tips, or hot link, a side order of potato salad, green beans or baked beans, and a drink. And that's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir. Ward 6.
Thank you, sir. Just a big shout out to our city. Appreciate comment was made earlier about our great city staff. Appreciate the attention they gave to the lights there on 52nd and Cash Road. Kind of getting them a little more in sync where the traffic's moving along. It's great seeing all this progress with all of our sewer lines and water lines going on, and our city lights are now working with everything there. So appreciate that attention. Also to our fire department, I told Chief earlier, appreciated his staff. We had an incident take place at the church last Saturday at prayer breakfast, and our first responders just did an outstanding job, and big shout out for our fire department.
Yes, sir.
Since Councilman Hampton isn't here tonight, I must mention the farmer's market for him, because we just could not have a council meeting without mentioning the farmer's market. The road program is doing great. For those of you that travel up and down Rogers Lane and Flower Mound where it turns in there, we just completed the second part of that project, which is by the railroad tracks down by the school. And that's been quite a congested area, so no, there's a lot of people that going to be really happy it's done as of today. So that part's finished, and we're on schedule to have 40 roads by Thanksgiving. 40 roads by Thanksgiving. Thank you.
All right, great news there. Colonel, I'll be there in the morning. Could you have an ambulance there just in case? So it's actually 41 roads. Our street department is fixing roads as well, and they're fixing the road right over by my house. I want to say thanks to them for that. And I want to announce those good folks over in Ward 7, they do like to eat. And on October the 11th, there will be a fundraising hamburger fry at Kimmy's Country Cafe there at 26th and Lee Boulevard. All that money is going to go to the Carter Crane Shelter, and they're hoping to sell 1,000 hamburgers that day. You can call ahead and order it, or you can just drive through and pick it up. It's a gourmet burger, and that'll be a good deal, but it's for a great cause. They're trying to get the Carter Crane Shelter open back up. We desperately need that, and so that's the 11th of October.
Mr. Burke, is there anything from the manager's office? Yes, ma'am, you had something else?
I did fail to mention that Johnny Cook, for those proceeds that particular day, will be giving 10% back to the Center of Creative Living and also the Ambucks.
I guess I'll just mention that no one in Ward 8 is feeding anybody. We need to work on that, guys. That brings us to audience participation. Lawton citizens having an item of business to present to the city council that does not appear on the agenda, please come forward at this time. The mayor and council will receive comments from the audience members. Council may recommend to the individual or the group as to what action they should take, i.e., refer the situation to a particular department or a person in one of the city offices. In order to participate in audience participation, each speaker must submit a request to speak form to the city clerk and must reside within the city limits of Lawton. Each speaker will have a 3-minute time limit. Each topic will have a 9-minute time limit, and audience participation will be limited to 30 minutes in total. Each participant is required to adhere to the rules of decorum outlined in Council Policy 1-6. I don't have any requests to speak. I have some from the consent agenda. Is there anyone other than that? Seeing no one, we'll move to the consent agenda. We'll pull items number 3 and number 16. Is there any other items that council would like to pull? 3 and 16. 3 and 16. Seeing no others, I would accept a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented with the exception of items number 3 and item 16. I have a motion and a second. Please vote. That item passed 5-0. That brings us to item number 3. Let me find it here. Consider the following damage claim recommended for denial: Reginald Fisher and Clea Fisher in the amount of $3,928.55 and Gloria Flores in the amount of $620.
Good evening. Can I get clarification? Are we needing discussion on both items for recommend for denial or just one? Both individuals? Okay. I'll start with the first one that I have for Reginald and Clea Fisher. The facts are this: on June 25th, 2024, the claimant's daughter was driving eastbound on Northeast Rogers Lane at around 8:20 to 8:30. She allegedly encountered a City of Lawton solid waste collection truck traveling in the opposite direction. When an object allegedly fell off that truck, the claimant's daughter stated that she could not swerve to miss that object, which resulted in her hitting it and causing damage to the driver's side of that vehicle. Several days later, so this happened on June 25th, 2024, several days later, an LPD police report was filed on July 3rd, 2024. Solid Waste Superintendent Jason Mansell did confirm that there were City of Lawton solid waste collection trucks in that area, but could not specifically pinpoint a specific time or location that they were in, but they were just in that area that day. No one in the department reported losing any objects that day from their trucks or reported any collisions. The facts are also that when the driver allegedly hit whatever allegedly fell off the truck, she didn't stop. She kept driving. So no one flagged down the solid waste collection truck driver to say, hey, you just lost something off of your truck. She didn't know what it was. Evidently, they went back, I guess, that day to try to retrieve or look for that item, and it was allegedly gone. So no facts that we have or that we found through our investigation support recommending this claim for approval. There's no way for us to verify that this actually happened besides the claimant's packet and information that they've given us. Damages or negligence against the city are never going to be presumed. And so for that reason, the city attorney's office recommended this claim for denial.
Yes, Ms. Fisher.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Of course, I'm the claimant or the co-claimant, and I'm here to ask the council to consider approving the claim despite the recommendation from the city attorney's office. I do have a few points that I'd ask the council to consider. The first is the location, and it's more of a common sense point. It's the location and the time of where this occurred. It was around 8:30 a.m. on Rogers Lane. So there's going to be commuter traffic, and it's likely going to be heavy. I do have a map of the area for you all to look at. And this happened, the object fell off of the truck around Northeast Tortoise Lane. My daughter was driving eastbound. As you can see from that map, there's nowhere for my daughter to have illegally pulled her vehicle over to search for this object in at least over a half a mile. She did what was the safest thing to do, which was to drive on to her destination, which was right around the corner at MacArthur High School where she works, and she called her mom. I did tell her to go back to that area to search for the object, but I told her with strict instructions not to get out of the vehicle. We can all agree, I believe, that Rogers Lane is one of the least pedestrian-friendly areas in the city of Lawton, so of course I wouldn't tell my daughter to get out of her vehicle to look for an object. So I would just ask you all to consider from a common sense standpoint that it was unsafe for a 19-year-old or any citizen to get out of their vehicle to look for an object on that roadway. The second point that I have is more of a legal point. In the memorandum, the city attorney's office stated that there was no outside corroborating evidence as one of the reasons for them to deny it. They've placed a lot of focus on the fact that we could not find the object. And that's not entirely true. There is outside corroborating evidence. The claims investigator saw the vehicle and saw the damage to the vehicle, and included in the claim is her statement that the damage was consistent with my daughter striking an object. The other corroborating evidence is stated in the claim, this is a little different than Garrett stated, which was that there was a solid waste collection truck in the area at the time that this occurred. The statement in the claim is that Solid Waste Superintendent Jason Mansell did confirm there was a City of Lawton solid waste collection truck in the area due to bulk pickup that day. We have no way of knowing the trash routes of the solid waste collection trucks. More importantly, they were doing bulk trash pickup. So that makes it more likely than not that there are large objects on the solid waste collection trucks that could fall off. So again, there is corroborating evidence. That brings me to my third point, which is also a legal point. The city attorney's office has pointed out that we don't have any direct evidence. So of course, if we could have found the object, that's direct evidence, or if we had a photograph of the object. But this council has and can approve claims based on what's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence is evidence that leads to an inference that something happened or didn't happen. And I've already told you what circumstantial evidence we have. I have 3 Oklahoma Supreme Court cases that state that negligence can be proven by circumstantial evidence, but I'm sure Mr. Andrew can confirm that that's the case. And the council has approved claims in the past based on circumstantial evidence. I have a claim, a mowing claim that was approved in 2023, where you had a citizen drive by a city mowing crew, a rock flies from the mower or some object, hits the windshield, damages the windshield, and the person, as long as they made a police report, which we did, contemporaneously reported that the incident happened, and you can place a city mowing crew in that area, they paid the claim, and they never told the claimant to go find the rock that hit their windshield. You also pay claims all the time for sewer backup claims based on circumstantial evidence. It's not uncommon for there to be a blockage in the main, and for a public works crew to arrive and that blockage is no longer there. And you pay claims because the claimant has said there's damage to their home and based on the history of that line. That is circumstantial evidence. The final point that I would make is also a legal point. In the memorandum, they cited to a case from 1949, which states that the burden of proving negligence or that negligence occurred is on the claimant. That is correct. I'm not disputing that case law. But that does not relieve the city attorney's office of the obligation of conducting a complete investigation. So I'd like to tell you what's not in the claim. I don't see anything in the claim about calls for service. Were there any other calls for service from citizens that were in that area at that time that reported that there was an object on the roadway? I don't know if they investigated or not. It's just not in the claim. Were there any other citizens that called in or made a call for service regarding an accident because they struck the object or struck a car trying to avoid the object? I don't know because it's not in the claim. The other thing that's not in the claim is anything related to the employee driving record of this solid waste collections driver. So as you all are aware, city employees have an internal employee driving record. So when they get into negligence accidents, then they accrue points on their employee driving record. I don't see in the claim where that solid waste collections driver was interviewed, nor do I have any information, or does this council have any information about his driving record, his or her driving record. What I do know is that just this afternoon, I pulled 9 claims related to the solid waste collections division. They hit mailboxes, they hit cars, they have debris flying off the back of the truck, and so I have no way of knowing because it doesn't appear to have been investigated. And for all I know, this employee was involved in all 9 of those incidents. So I'm just asking the council to consider from both a common sense standpoint and a legal standpoint that it would be reasonable to pay the claim. Does anyone have any questions?
Oh. Yes, ma'am.
The incident happened, what day you say it happened?
It happened on June 25th.
And you filed the report, what day?
On July 3rd, and I have an explanation for that.
What?
I first reached out to Mincy Beamisturfer. She is your normal claims investigator who actually I worked with for 14 years. Mincy reached out because I wanted to confirm that this is what actually happened when my 19-year-old told me that this happened. Mincy reached out to the Solid Waste Collections Division to confirm that they were in fact on a route in that day. So I was waiting on Mincy to get back with me. Also, because my co-claimant, my ex-husband, works overnights, we had to wait until he could, because he lives in the city of Lawton, to contact the police department to make a report. That's the reason for the delay.
Thank you.
But I did reach out to Mincy that day.
Thank you.
Just one point of clarification. So the portion that I read that says the solid waste superintendent, Jason Mansell, did confirm that there were City of Lawton solid waste collection trucks in the area for bulk pickup that day, but no one in the department reported losing any objects on trucks or reported any collisions that day. That's the information that we have. We would still recommend this claim for denial.
What is the desire of the council?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I'll make that motion that we deny the claim. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I make a motion that we accept the response from our city attorney and deny the claim.
I have a motion to deny. Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion to deny and a second. Please vote. That item passed 4-1 for denial. Is there anyone that would like to speak on the?
We'll present the claim first.
Okay. Just want to make sure we had somebody here. Okay. What? Yes, sir.
Okay, the second claim that we've recommended for denial comes from Gloria Flores. She alleges that on July 29, 2024, at approximately 12:30 p.m., she was driving her 2004 Toyota Camry eastbound on Lee Boulevard after leaving Southwestern Hospital and struck a pothole at an unspecified location. When she got home, her vehicle was leaking oil, and she had a mechanic look at it and said that it was in bad condition and her shocks and CV joints were ruined. The mechanic told her that it would be approximately $200 for parts and labor. Ms. Flores has filed a claim in the amount of $620 and submitted estimates from Faith Above Fear Mobile Mechanic in the amount of $620 for replacement of both struts and CV axles. What the city attorney's office is relying on in this one is going to be a notice argument. The city has responsibility to maintain streets with ordinary and reasonable care. However, we can't know about potholes until they're reported, until they've been called in or reported by someone else. So until that happens, if you're the first person that hits that pothole, sometimes you're just the unlucky one that found it, and then it gets reported and fixed later. The city did not act negligently in this and was out there repairing the alleged pothole in a location later on. According to our that's incorrect. According to our streets department records, in the area of Wesley Boulevard on August 1st, they made a repair to the westbound lane near Casey Distributors on Southwest Lee and near the Foot and Ankle Clinic. No hazards were found in the eastbound lanes, however. That was the distinction there. They repaired one portion of the road, but it didn't appear to be the portion of the road that she was traveling on. On August 7, 2024, after receiving notification of this claim, Supervisor David Little was dispatched to recheck the eastbound lanes for potholes. He checked the area from 67th Street to Sheridan Road, and no potholes or hazards were found. They have not received any other complaints regarding potholes near 67th Street and Sheridan Road in that location. And therefore, based on notice, a notice requirement, the city attorney's office would recommend this for denial.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am. I've got your name and address here, so you don't have to give it.
Okay. Hi. I'm new here. I'm fairly new here. I just moved here a little over 2 years ago. And so I'm not real familiar with the streets. All I know is I came from the hospital that day, and I was going eastbound. I was supposed to go turn left on Sheridan, but got stuck going right on Sheridan off of Lee, and hit a bunch of potholes. I don't know where or when this happened, but before I moved here to Lawton, which I love, I had my car looked at. It's 20 years old, and I had it looked at to make sure everything was okay and in working condition, and it was. And after that day when I hit the pothole as I was going down Lee and then turning onto Sheridan, making the wrong turn, I had to turn around, and I don't know if you guys know, but Sheridan in that area is terrible. And I don't know when it was that I hit or where it went, but my car, when I got home, was leaking oil, and I thought, oh my gosh, I hit a pothole, or my oil pan was leaking. So I called my mechanic immediately, and he came over and looked at it and said, well, it's not your oil pan, it's your CV joint is leaking grease or whatever it is. And so that's when, before he had never seen that, and he has worked on my car before. And all I want to say is a lot of these roads, since I'm not familiar with them, a lot of them are really in bad shape. And almost any street you go down, you're going to hit a pothole somewhere. And I know that they call it the drunk drive because you have to know where you're going to be missing potholes. I'm not real familiar. I've been here 2.5 years, and when I got here, I had 118,000 miles on my car. I have now 19,000, so I don't drive a lot. And unfortunately, that day, I ran into some potholes that I didn't see because I was trying to find my way home.
Okay, thank you. Does council have any questions? Seeing no questions, I would entertain a motion.
I'll move to deny the claim.
I have a motion to deny. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Please vote. The motion to deny passed 5-0. That brings us to item number 16. Consider approving change order number 2 with ODOT on city project number EN 1208 Gore Boulevard reconstruction from 67th Street to 82nd Street. The Department of Transportation of the State of Oklahoma, project number JP 1914404, state job number STP-116B59MS.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I'm asked for that to be pulled so that I could discuss with the council. This particular change order doesn't have all the information that I think we need. I talked with engineering and with our engineer about this, and there were some questions on if these were abandoned, if some of them are going to be abandoned, and if it was a contractor's request that this went through ODOT that we do this, or exactly where we stood on this. This is quite a bit of money for doing something that might be and probably is in the current description of work. So what I'm asking is to put this off until the next council meeting and make the decision at that next council meeting. This way engineering can do some research on this and find out, because I believe it's a good possibility that this could be in the description of work, therefore wouldn't require a change order as requested.
So do I take that as a motion to table?
Till next council.
Till next table? Okay, I've got a motion to table until the next council meeting. And a second, please vote. That item passed 5-0. Brings us to unfinished business. Item number 27. Consider waiving council policy 1-6 to reconsider an item within 6 months. Consider rescinding resolution number 24-187, which declared the structures located at 1913 Northwest Lincoln Avenue a dilapidated structure, and take action as deemed necessary. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Council. This item was, get to that picture for you. This item was brought to you at the last council meeting, and unfortunately, I did get some little wrong information. This item was actually tabled because due to property taxes and not because of the wrongful information on the deed. So I do apologize about that. We have discovered that if we do tear down the structure, the city is less likely to recover any cost at the county tax sale than if the structure was still there. The current property owner also stated that during his comments at the public hearing that he is planning on remodeling this property. Unfortunately, wouldn't be until around the middle part of 2025.
Yeah, we'll have to. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I make a motion to table this particular item, number 28.
We've got a motion to table this item until the next council meeting and a second. Please vote. That item passed 5-0. Brings us to business items. Item number 28. Consideration and action upon a resolution to the City of Lawton, Oklahoma.
You already did that one.
Oh, yeah, we moved that. I thought it sounded familiar. Item number 29, consider holding a public hearing and approving an ordinance pertaining to planning and zoning, amending Section 18-1-1-106, Division 18-1-1, Article 18-1, and Section 18-6-16-671, Division 18-6-16, Article 18-6, both of Chapter 18, Lawton City Code 2015, by creating a definition for blockchain, digital assets, digital asset mining, home digital asset mining, and node, and allowing digital asset mining businesses to be permitted use within an I-1 restricted manufacturing and warehouse district, providing for severability and establishing an effective date. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, back in May, there was a state bill that passed that effective November 1st, Bitcoin mining or digital asset mining would be allowed per state statute in a I zoning district. And so staff took this discussion item to CPC, got their input on what zoning district they would want to see this use in. They suggested I3. We drafted a code, took it back to them for approval. They've changed their mind and now would like to see it in an I1 zoning district. So that ordinance has been amended and is attached. And so this would just get us ahead of the game for the state statute that goes into effect November 1st.
Yes, sir.
So I only have a rudimentary understanding of Bitcoin mining, and I'm assuming this is not another West Wind project popping up. So
this is
could you explain why this needs to be in an industrial area?
Go ahead.
You want to do it or you want me to do it? I don't mind.
Go for it.
So what they're doing, so Bitcoin mining involves the solving of advanced mathematical equations. And so every time one of these equations gets solved, it's like kind of a random equation. It gets solved. The person or the machine that solves it gets a Bitcoin or gets a piece of a Bitcoin. So that's why there's a profit in this. So to do that, my computer at home has one graphics card, and that powers mostly my nerdy stuff at home. What they do is they take a series of about 100 of these cards, and you can look on eBay and find where people are selling these operations, and they'll have 100 of these graphics cards that can be put together in a server or several servers, and so it generates a lot of heat, it generates a lot of electricity because they're using these hooked together to solve these advanced equations. And so you'll see commercial operations with 1,000 of these cards potentially. And I know my computer at home generates quite a bit of heat. I have quite a bit of cooling on it. So you're looking at that at an exponential level. And so that's what our recommendation is. That's what most cities have done. That's what the state's recommending, is it goes in industrial areas for the commercial size operations.
And that's because of the energy demand or increased fire risk, or
It's those things, yes. It's considered to be somewhat of a fire risk. The electricity, the intake of electricity, the cooling that it takes to keep these facilities.
so they've probably got a three-phase electrical power supply in, and
I believe they operate on quite a bit more than normal. So
okay.
I'm not familiar with the electric part of it, but
I'll read it in the first discussion.
Just wanted to make one quick point, and I appreciate the fact that staff is adhering to the True North statement and being proactive and getting this done before we have to, because I'm sure there's going to be, not necessarily for this item, but for the next item, there's probably going to be some people standing in line wanting to do whatever they have to do. So I
Yeah, we've already had one inquiry. So.
I appreciate that y'all are doing this ahead of time. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I approve, or would like to approve
You
an
have to
ordinance.
you have to do public hearing first.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
Then I'll wait to make my motion.
Okay, that being said, I would open a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please come forward. Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. Now,
I forgot it already. No. I approve an ordinance, waive the reading of the ordinance and read title only, allowing digital asset mining businesses to be permitted use within an I-1 restricted manufacturing and warehouse district to include the floor amendment that the use is subject to written clearance from the local electrical provider, that there is significant infrastructure in place to safely support the use at their specific location with sufficient reserves for future development of adjacent properties, and established an effective date of November 1, 2024.
I've got a motion. Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion and a second. Please vote. That motion passed 5-0. Bringing us to item number 30. Consider holding a public hearing and approving an ordinance pertaining to planning and zoning, amending Section 18-4-1-411, Division 18-4-1, Article 18-4, Chapter 18, Lawton City Code 2015, by allowing home digital asset mining as a home occupation, providing for severability, and establishing an effective date. Yes, ma'am.
This is a corresponding code. The state statute does allow home digital asset mining as a home occupation up to 1 megawatt. Just for reference, 1 megawatt is an average of 600 households, so that is quite a bit of electricity. And so this item went to CPC. They did recommend a annual fire marshal inspection be required also, to look over fire hazards and stuff like that with extension cords and so forth. And so that recommendation has been included in the ordinance.
Yes, sir.
Christine, is there anyone here from PSO to talk about energy demands?
Not that I believe, but we did speak with them earlier today about that being a real issue.
So, say 500 people want to do this.
It would kill it.
Yeah.
Your neighbors would not have power.
Well, I was just thinking that I thought we were pretty close to capacity as far as PSO goes anyway. I know that it went down a little bit with LED lighting, but I knew that they weren't able to build a new plant here. So are we going to limit the number of applicants that can do this, or?
If we do a motion similar to the one that was just passed, it would require PSO to bless off on that, stating that there is significant infrastructure to support that use.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, part of the issue being we don't have a lot of control over this. We're trying to exert as much control as we can with it written the way the state has written it.
Correct.
Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, I'll open a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please come forward and be heard. Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. Council, what is your?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I would move to approve an ordinance, waive the reading of the ordinance, and read the title only, allowing home digital asset mining as a home occupation to include the floor amendment that prior to the issuance of a home occupation registration, that the applicant must provide written clearance from the local electrical power provider, that there is significant infrastructure in place to safely support the use of their specific location with sufficient reserves for future development of adjacent properties, and to establish an effective date of November 1, 2024.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Thank you, sir.
I have a motion and a second. Please vote. That motion was approved 5-0. That brings us to item number 31. Receive a report from Parks and Recreation regarding playground equipment for 9 parks, and consider accepting a Spark grant from Play and Park Structures in the amount of $928,544 for the purchase of playground equipment as presented. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and City Council. I'm here to provide a progress report on the initial improvements of the first 9 parks that we presented to Council. Also to provide you with a report on what we're calling round 2 of our citywide park improvement program. And to ask you to accept the Spark grant from the company of Play and Park Structures in the amount of $928,544 for the purchase of this playground equipment as presented, so that we as a city can make the grant deadline of 31 October 24. I do have Ms. Heather Harp here, and she's here to present, explain, or answer any questions on the Spark grant that you may have before we get started.
So Play and Park Structures Spark Grant was designed as a nationwide effort to revitalize rundown parks into vibrant playgrounds with an emphasis on innovation and inclusivity. And this is actually the first Spark grant that is being awarded, is this one to the City of Lawton, for the amount of $928,544. And the City of Lawton was chosen because of your continued efforts to put focus on inclusive play for your community. Do you have any questions?
Thank you very much.
I
Does
do.
anybody have a, yes, sir.
So Larry, I saw, and you'd sent me plans before for,
Yes, sir.
to redo Kid Zone.
Yes, sir.
So that's going to be a part of that, including a splash pad, correct?
It is. It's coming in the brief, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
It is in the presentation.
All right.
Yes, sir. Okay, our agenda. As you can see, this is where we're at currently with our park improvements. We're well within glide path. We're scheduled to finish on the 26th. Matty Bill, with the exception of Matty Bill, we're still waiting on the master plan for Matty Bill. As soon as we receive that master plan and we know exactly where to put that play unit, it will go in. It is here, it's on the ground, it was purchased, and Heather's guys have already told me that whenever we want to install it, they will put it where we want it. So we will make that happen. Also, I would like to note that we did complete the mission with the town of Walters. With the exception of 2 small swings, we did give them a small play unit, a medium play unit, and 1 set of small swings. We're waiting on them to come back to us to receive the last 2 set of swings out of Gray War. So please keep in mind also when we complete these on the 26th that we will continue to make small amenities until the end of the year. Benches, picnic tables, barbecue grills, trash cans, things of that nature will continue to be placed in these parks. First, Kid Zone, Ward 3, extra large, inclusive, pour in place, built-in shade, as you can see, 200 to 250 capacity. The Spark grant is subtracted out of that dollar amount you see on the screen up there. Again, it does have a splash pad co-located with this play unit, and it is on the lower left quadrant of this slide behind the dollar amount in the green-blue area there. This is another angle of the actual splash pad with 9 devices. It is also a flow-through system that does not require a lifeguard, okay? And that is the new phase that is coming out. These smaller structures or larger structures with a smaller splash pad that does not require a lifeguard. Gooch Acres, another large inclusive built-in shade, as you can see, does not have the pour-in-place surfacing, but it is pretty well maintained. It will be pretty well maintained. Skyline East, same. 100 to 125 structure capacity, 26 devices on there. Lots of things for the children to do, all in the shade. Prairie Park, Ward 4. You can see the grant savings there again, another large multi-structure, wide range capacity of 125 to 150. Again, Please note the shade. 35th Division, again, this is a climbing, multi-climbing structure. Again, you can see the grant savings and the product we are receiving. Willow Creek Park out of Ward 6, grant savings. This is a small unit, climbing features and multi-purpose. Hunter Hills out of Ward 6. Mosing Park out of Ward 7, another large structure. And what I like to call the Thunderdome out at Lee West. I guess I got to pay $35 too. Out at Lee West, okay. This again is another pour-in-place surface. No, this is not the court. This is adjacent to it. When we put these play units in, they go in exactly in the same place. We remove the old one. We do structure resurfacing to the ground to level it and make sure it's where it needs to be before Heather's guys come in and do what they do, okay? Whereas Kid Zone is 14,280 square feet, this one is 4,773 square feet of pour-in-place surfacing. If you don't know that, it's very expensive. This one has 30 components, and it already has a splash pad coming, so it wasn't included in there. As you can see here on the last slide, everything on the left is the original price without the grant savings. On the right, you have the grant savings, okay? So you can see that, you know, the 688, 297.50 with the 240, 246.50 for Greer Park combined, that's going to give us the entire Spark grant total, okay? And we are asking that you please approve this so that our next destination will be excellence, okay, for the community.
Larry, I think it's an excellent presentation. I'm really excited about this. That's some beautiful parks. I hate to say this, but I think we probably need to make plans to put a nice-looking sign up on each one of these parks.
We do, sir.
Stating that this is your park, please take care of it. This is a lot of nice equipment, and I know how things work, so people need to remember it's their parks.
Yes, sir.
And they need to maintain it.
Yes, sir.
But I think
Noted.
it's great.
Noted.
Really do.
Yes, sir.
Excited about it.
Yeah. Thrilled to death.
Yes, sir.
Larry, can you discuss a little more in depth on the replacement of Kid Zone?
So
And
what I can tell you, sir, is that everything that's up front, we're going to cordon it off, so that will remain. The play unit and the structure behind it is what we're going to start removing when we do begin this process.
that'll take how long?
I don't have a completion right now, sir.
Okay, and there's also, I think if I remember, you told me it's going to be zip lines and.
It's got 35 different features on it, and yes, that was included in there.
And does that price include the work you're going to have to do on the parking lot?
No, it does not.
Okay.
And I am looking at that also. That is a CIP project, so I'm looking at that. Mr. Serrano gave me some great information right before I walked in here. We've been working with him, the engineers, to make the parking lot happen also.
So just so the public knows, it was about 27 years ago when the Great Plains chapter of AMBUCS started this project. Mr. Mark Glenn, it was an idea that he had after seeing one of these playgrounds, the original Kid Zone in San Diego, and the community actually built that. We will not be able to build this as a community. However, we're hoping to save some of the placards and stuff that the children made, the handprints and some of that original stuff. And in addition, over the years, the AMBUCS have maintained a fund to take care of the original Kid Zone, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be ready to donate that to help defray this cost even further.
Yes, sir. Thank
So
you.
that hopefully would be $30,000 or $40,000. So that'd be awesome.
AMBUCS Tower.
I just wanted to mention that we've got parks repairs and updates going on right now that aren't even listed here. We've got these, and we've got more coming in the future, and I appreciate this, and I know the citizens of Lawton have been looking for this for a really long time, and they really appreciate it too. I thank you for all your work and your staff. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
This is a good thing.
Yes, sir.
I would accept, is this just a presentation, or do we have to direct anything?
Approval, sir. Accept the grant and approve us to move forward with the process so we make the deadline.
Make a motion that we accept this grant.
I have a motion and a bunch of seconds to accept this grant. Please vote. That item passed 5-0. That brings us to item number 32. Consider adoption of revised neighborhood traffic calming policy, adopting as council policy 10-05. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and council. So long story short, we have a policy update that we're trying to push through for the neighborhood traffic calming policy. It does 3 major updates. One, gives it a council policy number, which it doesn't have right now. Kind of just resides on a network drives, and we hand it out as requested. Another update that it does is it provides or incorporates the discussion from 22 February of 22 into policy. So instead of just residing in the council meeting minutes from that meeting, it'll be put into that policy. And then the third major update would be changing responsibility to Public Works from engineering. Just 2 weeks ago, Public Works took over the traffic engineering responsibilities. Standing by for any questions.
Any questions from council? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the revised neighborhood traffic calming policy. Have a motion. Do I have a second? Have a motion and a second. Please vote. That item passed 5-0. Brings us to item staff reports. Provide City Council with an update on FY 2023 and FY 2024 audit process. Yes, ma'am. I like that smile.
Oh. Council, we are still on track. We are in the process of completing the audit with 2023. It is expected on October 1st. The auditors will be on site again in October, either the 2nd or the 4th week for FY24, which we are early on this year. It's an October smile.
Thank you very much. I can feel the mayor smiling.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Receive a report on the status of the relocation program for prairie dogs within the city of Lawton to wildlife management areas within the state of Oklahoma. Mr. Parks.
Again, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council. This time I'm here to brief you on the relocation of some of our friends out here in the parks. I'm going to give you some of the methods that we're going to use and timeline. So, in the past, the council identified a need to relocate a population of prairie dogs residing on municipal park land for various reasons. Some of them included overpopulation, public safety, citizen concern, potential conflicts with upcoming construction is really huge when you start thinking of what's getting ready to take place in Elmer Thomas. So that's a driving force, and of course the environmental concerns with this. I do have a brief overview. Well, I will talk about the importance of them. We all know that, they're very important to, they play a very keystone role when it comes to providing some fertilized, tilled, and aerated soil for grazelands. The elk and the bison and the cattle, they need that stuff. And these prairie dogs provide that for us. So our intent is not to exterminate. Our intent is to relocate, okay? And we got a few ways that we're going to do that. And some people may ask, why do we want to control the population? For obvious reasons, safety being one, for the animal and our citizens. Landscape preservation being another. Property damage is huge. Last year at Elmer Thomas, we lost almost 50,000 during one community event out there. When you start talking about the lights for the Christmas display that we set up. The year prior to that, it was 80,000. So you just combine that. I mean, we could have had a few more events or maybe a concert and some other things if we wasn't putting money towards repairing all of that stuff. And the most important is if you don't have enough for the prairie dogs to eat, it leads to starvation and disease. So we want to make sure we get out in front of that and move them on before that. So we have a couple of ways that we're going to do that, but prior to me briefing that, I did do some research on the relocation here in Lawton. And I went back to the 1990s and I found that we sent some to Lubbock. We sent about 250 to Lubbock. And they're still out there thriving, okay? We also sent some about 4 years later over to Lake Ellsworth, about 30 of them. They wanted us to come get them back in about 2 weeks because they were done with it. And we went and got them and tried to relocate them. So we have a long history of doing that. Last year we did send 60 to 80 out to Wichita Refuge, and they didn't make it, okay? We tried everything to reconstruct the burrows and everything we needed to do, but they did not make it. With that being said, we do have 2 sites within the park where the prairie dogs reside, and that was something that was done a long time ago. And one is the North Prairie Dog Town, located at 6th and Cash, and the other one is right there next to Ferris, South Ferris. Ferris, excuse me. It is the largest one. So, again, we want to keep some also, but we do care about their safety and well-being as well as that of our citizens and the property. Okay. So we were scheduled to begin relocating these prairie dogs on 1 October. I got a call from the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife and Conservation, and Mr. Eric Cowan told me that we're going to move it to the right again. Now, keep in mind, I was wanting to do this back in July and August, but it was too hot to move them for obvious reasons. Transporting, transporting, be too much on them. So we decided to wait until it cooled off. Actually, they made us wait until it cools off because they have to be present when this happens. So what we're going to do, the plan, we got 4 teams. We have 4 teams. We have 1 suction truck that Mr. Eric Cowan does have an attachment that fits on there, and they have done it in many other communities, that we're going to use that. We also have 2 water trucks that we're going to use to force them to the surface. And when we get them to the surface, we will actually place them in cages, and they will move with that wildlife representative to the warehouse to the wildlife management areas is where they will go. And again, Sandy Sanders in Southwest Oklahoma, Greer County is one, okay? And believe it or not, they wanted all of them, okay? So this will be an annual thing. We'll do it twice a year, October and November, 2nd week, both months, okay? Cooper in Northwest Oklahoma in Woodward County, Cimarron Hills in Northeastern Oklahoma in Cimarron County. So we will begin doing that here shortly when they tell us. Challenges, again, I already spoke about the heat and transporting them. That was the main concern. The other challenge is we had to establish some PPE. We had to buy some material to move them in, but they're going to move them. Because when they move them, they do other things like tests and actually immunize them and things of that nature. And when I say test, I mean they test them for disease and stuff to make sure they're not releasing that. Lessons learned, again, the biggest lesson we learned is it's better to relocate than do the other means. Active flushing is the best way to relocate them because you don't injure them. And let me back up to that truck. When that truck, the suction truck, removes them, we will put mattress and other cushion in there so that when they do come through, they're not injured. With that being said, I'm asking that, you council, please approve this so that we can move forward and begin returning the park back to its prior stage.
Before I make a motion to approve this, does Lubbock know that we sent them 250 prairie dogs? Or?
Oh, yes, they know. Oh, yes, they know.
Could we send some to Altus? So, Mr. Jones. But no, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the rehoming of these prairie dogs. Oh.
It's not an action item to actually, it's just to receive a report.
I would like to encourage that we go faster then.
I will tell you, sir, that the burrow blocker, is it here, Big Mike? It arrived a few minutes ago. We are anxious to get it because that is one of the last major things we need to do after we remove them is we need to fill the burrows, and that's going to do it for us.
And I think council has given direction in
Yes,
the
sir.
past, so this is just a continuation of that.
Okay.
And I appreciate your presentation. That brings us to executive session. Do I have a motion to? So moved. I have a motion to go to executive session. I have a second. Please vote.
1 second. So we passed a couple of ordinances tonight. We did not read the titles. So we need to go back and redo those motions with the reading of the title. That's my bad. I was considering all of the graphic card stuff and we were talking about that. So that's my miss, but we do need to go back and redo those motions.
Okay, item number.
The reading of the title.
Let's see here. On item number 29.
28, 29.
Yeah, 29 and 30.
29
Sorry.
and 30.
Yeah. I think we can just, do we read the title or do we need to revote? Revote, okay, we'll just do it all
I had a
together.
motion and a second to approve that. Read the title only. And then
Right, so we'll
revote.
so we have that motion in second? Okay. The other thing, I don't have the ordinances here tonight.
Is what my motion said.
Let me pull them up real fast. I didn't get a paper copy.
Doesn't it just say that? Yeah.
Hold on, I gotta pull up the packet, because I don't have, usually I have a packet. I gotta. Do you have it there? Okay, sorry, I've got it here.
I had a motion and a second to approve the ordinance and read the title only.
Consider holding a public hearing and approve, wait, that's the actual item title.
Here,
I'm looking for where's the actual ordinance? There, no, I'll pull it up. Usually I have a printed copy and I'm
Yeah, I don't have
having
one either.
trouble pulling that up tonight, so that's the other reason I kind of missed it. Let me, it's not pulling up that page. It's not going to be in, I have a copy that's got all the stuff. If nobody has a copy of it, somebody else may have to read it. I don't have a copy.
This is item 29, correct?
Item 29, mine's hung up.
Consider holding a public hearing and approving an ordinance pertaining to planning and zoning, amending section 18-1-1-106, division 18-1-1, article 18-1 and section 18-6-16-671, Division 18-6-16, Article 18-6, both of Chapter 18, Lawton City Code 2000.
We've got it now.
You're
Sorry,
reading the
we've got it
title of
pulled
the
up.
item. This is, he has to
Here.
read the title.
Oh, I've got it now. I've got
All right.
it pulled up, yeah. An ordinance pertaining to planning and zoning amendment, amending section 18-1-1-106, division 18-1-1, article 18-1, and section 18-6-16-646, division 18-6-16, article 18-6, both of chapter 18, Lawton City Code 2015, by creating a definition for blockchain, digital asset mining, home digital asset mining, and node, and allowing digital asset mining businesses to be a permitted use within an I-1 restricted manufacturing and warehouse district, providing for severability, establishing an effective date.
Please vote.
Let me see if I can find the other one.
That item passed 5-0.
Here we go. All right. This
And
was
now
not
we
as
need to go to item number 30. We had a motion to approve the ordinance and a second, and read the title only.
An ordinance pertaining to planning and zoning amending section 18-4-1-411, division 18-4-1, article 18-4, chapter 18, Lawton City Code 2015, by allowing home digital asset mining as a home occupation, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Please vote. That item passed 5-0. Now I would entertain a motion to go to executive session.
Sorry, Gill. Uyghur. Williams.
Yes.
Warren. And Harris.
Yes.
I'll accept a motion to return from executive session. Have a second, motion and a second. Call the roll or let's vote. That motion passed 5-0. Yes, sir.
All right, ready? Pursuant to Section 307B.4, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, the governing body convened an executive session to discuss the pending action in the United States District Court for the Western District of Oklahoma titled Andre Wilson versus City of Lawton et al. CIV 24-853-G, and if necessary, take appropriate action in open session. There is action to take in open session.
Mr. Mayor, due to Alan Rosenbaum, Heather Moulton Skiles, Sandra Carl, Jillian Allison, Manuel Martinez, excuse me, Michael Albert, Caleb Swinford, Mario Ozuna, Mark Floyd, Mark Mason, Trent Ulrich, Nathan Johnson, and Michael Jones having made a request for representation, and upon finding that these individuals were acting in good faith and are in the course of their employment, I move to, 1, authorize the law firm of Collins, Zorn, and Wagner to represent these individuals, and 2, approve a contract with said firm for representation at a rate of $175 per hour for partner attorneys, B, $150 per hour for associate attorneys, C, $60 per hour for paralegals assisting the firm's attorneys, and D, $50 per hour for investigative services, with said contract to be retroactive to August 29th, 2024.
I have a motion and a second. Please vote. That motion passed 5-0.
Mr. Mayor, I have a second motion. Due to Stan Booker, John Ratliff, and John Andrew having made a request for representation, and upon finding that these individuals were acting in good faith and in the course of their official duties and/or appointment, I move to, 1, authorize the law firm of McAfee and Taft to represent these individuals as well as the city, and 2, approve an addendum to the fiscal year 24-25 McAfee and Taft agreement to allow for representation of these individuals and the city at the rate set forth in paragraph 9C of the fiscal year 24-25 McAfee and Taft agreement.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second? I have a motion and a second. Please vote. That item was approved 5-0.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? I have a motion to adjourn in many seconds. Please vote. That item passed 5-0. Everybody have a good evening.
Thank you.